We're talking secure stablecoin payments for your business and the ability to seamlessly connect digital money and digital assets with the privacy institutions need. There's more to build and connections to be made, so come and find your place on Canton. Let's go.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on this, our first Canton Buildcast. I'm Ben Singh-Gerald from Digital Asset, one of the founding firms behind the Canton Network. But what is the Canton Network? Well, simply put, it's the only public layer 1 blockchain which is really solved for privacy. With around $75 billion of tokenized US treasuries processed across the network every day and around $4 trillion of real-world assets on Canton already, it might just be the biggest blockchain you've not heard of yet. To cut through the noise in the digital asset space, we're going to demonstrate the transformative power of an ecosystem that combines the public blockchain promise of frictionless, low-cost, 24/7 value transfer with privacy, which holds the key to dissolving the boundaries between TradFi and crypto capital markets at scale. So, in the spirit of less tell and more show, let's jump right into it with our guest today, Chase Merlin, Head of Product Management at Brale. Chase, great to have you on our first Buildcast.
Hey, Ben, it's great to be here.
So, let's talk about stablecoins and what Brale has to offer. What have you been doing the last couple of years? We've really seen the switch flick on stablecoin adoption in the last year. It's really starting to deliver on its original promise. I think there's really an increasing understanding of the utility that stablecoins can bring for institutions, from a digital money point of view, in capital markets use cases. What are you really seeing and hearing as the biggest opportunities that lie ahead of you? And as a regulated issuer and money transfer business, what are you hearing from your customers at the moment?
Yeah, so I think this is a really exciting time to be building in stablecoins. I think we're really in the early part of the S-curve adoption of stables. A couple of things have changed a lot in the last year to really make this possible. One is the rise of new emerging networks that are high throughput and have unique characteristics like privacy on Canton that we'll get into. The other is a lot of the stablecoin infrastructure that Brale has been, a small piece of, where we now have unified rails for moving money around the world for things like international payouts, corporate treasury, and these things where it's now possible to move money globally 24/7 instantly. It just wasn't possible, 12 or 18 months ago.
So that's great. So with all that in mind, Chase, tell us a little bit more about what Brale is really offering. What's different about your offering, maybe from the plethora of other stablecoin offerings coming to market today, and what problems are you really addressing, especially by bringing Brale to Canton, to the Canton network?
So Brale is a stablecoin issuance and orchestration platform. So we make it easy for businesses to convert between dollars and stablecoins, including their own stablecoins, which is a source of revenue to monetize deposits. We also offer a unified payment rail via our dashboard and API for moving money around the world. And so we're really excited to come to Canton because Canton is uniquely positioned with privacy to enable a lot of these payments use cases that just aren't possible on things like Solana or Ethereum. And so we're excited to be an on-ramp on Canton to make it really easy for people to bring assets onto the network with no other technology requirements. For example, you don't have to run a validator, you just need a Brale account and you can get up and running in a few minutes. And as we think about things like payroll, international payouts, and corporate treasury, these are obviously really sensitive money flows. And so Canton is uniquely positioned with privacy to move these flows on chain at scale, which is something that we've always found has been a challenge in some of the other public legacy networks.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point. I think we're seeing more and more of this as institutional adoption kind of ramps up now. What does it look like to use something that doesn't maybe prioritize privacy in terms of the workflow in the kind of use cases you're dealing with customers? Can we just dig into that a little bit more? What does that what do they look like in a real life, payment flow or, payroll process or something that you're working on with customers today?
I think when we think about how stablecoins have been used, on most chains today, a lot of them have been more crypto native users or Web3 users. And so, for kind of that 1% to get things going, it's fine to have these public transactions. But as we move more towards real world adoption, for example, if I'm doing mass payroll, for example. It's just not realistic if you think about how payroll works today, to have every one of my employees or contractors or subcontractors be able to have that be read by, any person with an Explorer. It's just not realistic for businesses. And so as we think about more of the mainstream adoption, moving over institutions, PSPs, historical providers, where the vast majority of volume is, you really need privacy. And it's just been a missing primitive. I'd say probably the missing primitive at this point for unlocking these mainstream use cases.
As we promised at the beginning of the Buildcast, we said we'd show you something. So Chase, I'm actually going to hand it over to you shortly now to give us a short demo. Could you walk us through, what firms that connect to Canton with a validator, or maybe people that want to connect through key custody providers like Copper or Defense, what they can do with Brale as an on-ramp into the Canton network?
So this is the Brale dashboard. And this offers a seamless way for businesses to bring assets onto Canton, both fiat assets like USD and also digital assets from other networks, for example, USDC. So I'm going to walk through an example here of minting SBC, which is a stablecoin that we've issued on Canton. We can fund this with fiat, so wire transfer or ACH, as well as on-chain assets. And so the goal here is really to be an easy on-ramp to take multiple sources of these dollars or digital dollars, make it easy to get it onto Canton. And all of this is completely zero fee. And so in this case, I'm going to fund this with USDC on Solana. And so as I think about this, and so in the background, this will take about a minute to complete on chain. And so if I think about all of these applications and businesses coming to Canton, really see Brale as the entry point or on-ramp to interact with the rest of the network. So if I'd want to move assets on chain, like treasury management with Brale, if I'd want to move assets to third parties, like maybe Copper or a qualified custodian, or enter into trading with other entities, Brale is really the first point of contact where you don't have to run a validator. You don't have to do anything other than have a Brale account to get up and running quickly. And again, with zero fees. So as we can see, we've now minted the SBC on Canton. And so in this case, we're holding, we already held a balance. So we're holding essentially what's a private balance, which I think is really unique as opposed to these other chains on Canton. So if I think about what this enables for businesses, so if I imagine that, for example, I'm a corporate treasurer and I want to move funds between some of my subsidiaries, I now have this private balance on Canton that I can transfer instantly anywhere in the world, 24/7. And so, for example, here through the dashboard, I can enter into these could be other entities here. So for example, other wallets, my counterparties, etc. I could also send these right to exchanges or other custodians. And I think uniquely, right, as opposed to doing this on, again, Solana or Ethereum, these are completely private. These are not exposed. And so I can essentially run an entire private settlement flows. And this is all available, by the way, right through the API as well. Something else that we offer that I think is pretty unique to Brale is also the ability to issue your own stablecoin. And so as we think about all of these flows moving on chain, all of these private payment flows that we've been talking about, businesses often want to earn treasury revenue behind the stable. And so we've made it very easy to do this. And so I'm just going to issue a new stablecoin on Canton. We'll call this digital dollar. Yeah, and I'll fund this, again, funding this with fiat or with USDC. this is a branded stain that businesses can create, so they control and benefit from, where Brale's managing the reserves and businesses are earning the risk-free rate in the background. So this is really helpful for treasury management, or as you think about these payment flows, it's an additional source of monetization. And I think what's very unique about Canton, again, is in addition to the underlying reserves, businesses are also earning Canton coin through Brale's portion of the application rewards program.
So that's very cool. I love this idea of having this stablecoin agnostic framework, especially today when there are so many new stables being issued. It gives real flexibility to people, and a really, really great option. You mentioned Canton Coin in there as well as part of the proposition. For those watching, can you explain, as an app builder on the Canton network, what that means for you, what the utility of Canton Coin is as the utility token for the Canton network? What does that mean for your app, for your users, for the network overall? It'd be great just to build on that a little bit, because I think it's a real kind of unique feature of what we're bringing to people that come to Canton.
Yeah, so Canton's been really thoughtful with the tokenomics, and one of the big pieces of the tokenomics is that applications earn a portion of Canton coin continuously based on how much traffic and value they're driving to the network. And so as an application provider ourselves, this provides a immense incentive for us to drive activity to Canton. And what I'm especially excited about is, as a stablecoin issuer, a lot of our value proposition is helping businesses earn treasury revenue, earn yield. And on Canton, there's also an opportunity for us to share, as an application provider, a portion of app rewards with our end users, with our businesses. And so if you combine this with the treasury yield, this actually results in treasury revenue opportunities that are far better than what you would get on other networks.
That's great. Thanks, Chase. And I think, the journey with you guys has been really, really fun, because we've, used some new technology from digital asset to get you onto the network as well. And we're really helping people to ease that journey into Canton. Just from that perspective, bringing the app to the network, what has the experience been like working with a digital asset software stack, and roughly, how long has it taken you to bring Brale to Canton? Obviously, you've been, on other networks and connected with other coins for a while. What was your experience of doing that with Canton and the digital asset stack, and how could other people do that if they wanted to bring assets to Canton too?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of infrastructure in place that makes it easier for application developers to build on Canton. And so one is at the validator, level. It was pretty easy for us to work with a lot of, existing, third-party tooling to get up and running quickly on the validator. And then, as an asset issuer, I think Canton's made it incredibly easy. There's no need for custom smart contracts. Everything's built in natively into the protocol. So as a stablecoin issuer, it's quite easy to just issue and get going. I would also say, we worked quite closely with the digital asset team, and they were super helpful throughout the process. We spent a lot of time together, I think, evolving docs and just making things even easier for us as a new, entrant and participant in the ecosystem.
That's great. And you mentioned the ecosystem. Obviously, with Canton, we talk a lot about the connections that can be made, right? It's not just bringing assets and applications standalone into their little islands. They become really useful when they can connect with other things on the network. And obviously stablecoins is, they exist because of that kind of utility of connecting these flows. What are some of the things you're excited about in the Canton ecosystem already? Maybe some of the conversations that you're having, at this stage with, the use cases that are developing on Canton. Are there specific things that you're looking to do next in terms of connecting Brale with other things, other assets, other workflows?
Yeah, I think as more institutions and applications come online, especially globally, I'm really interested from a payments perspective. Brale has really made it very easy to get assets onto the network, especially for US businesses. There's, qualified custodians as well, like Copper. And as more global institutions and other jurisdictions come online, that really enables, again, the 24/7 real-time private settlement layer. And so we'll get there in phases, right? And we're already working on some corridors on Canton. But I think if you look forward, 6 to 12 months from now, it is incredibly exciting to think about, what can be done on Canton that, again, just, we aren't able to do or haven't been able to do before.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining us today, Chase. It's really powerful to see that user experience and understand how bringing stablecoins to Canton can open up all these different use cases with really privacy-enabled money transfers. I can't wait to see what comes next. They're alluding to some of those things you just referenced, as more applications start to integrate with Brale on the network. We look forward to having you back on the show sometime.
Thanks, Ben. This was great and really excited to be building in the ecosystem.
Where can people connect with you to find out more, Chase? They want to dig into Brale, contact you, understand how they can start to interact with the application.
Yes, you can learn more about Brale on our website. It's brale.xyz. And then I'm on X at Chase Merlin.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Chase. Well, that is all we have time for our first Buildcast. Do tune in again next time where we have more demonstrations of the applications coming to Canton. We look forward to seeing you. Chase, thank you so much again. It's been enlightening, and I absolutely love just seeing this stuff come alive and see the real use cases that are being developed. So thank you for taking the time and putting such a great demo together for us.
Thanks. This was fun.
Thank you all for tuning in. See you on the next Buildcast.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Canton Buildcast. Want to dive deeper? Check out the links below to learn more, connect to Apt, or bring your assets and use cases to Canton. And don't forget to hit subscribe to stay on top of the latest apps and opportunities shaping institutional grade on-chain finance. Bye for now.